So everyone can see my screen, right? So if you're unfamiliar with Code Wars, here we show it's the title of the challenge. There's an 8KU, which this is the level that it's at, which is the bottom level. You'll see instructions, output, and then past solutions. We're not going to click on past solutions, but here's the instructions for this particular thing. You're given, yes, James?
Okay, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I've never been on Code Wars, and I just logged in, and it's asking for a skill test to sign in. Am I in the right place?
A what test?
A skills test.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can skip it, I think. But they're just asking you, if you're brand new, they're going to say, hey, can you solve this? And the one I kept seeing was, what's wrong with this? And you have, the code says A times B.
Okay, mine says to join, you must first prove your skills. Choose a language to begin with.
Yeah, so choose a language.
Okay, and then you can't even see the languages.
Well,
okay. So let's see. Okay, I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I'll try to do this.
You'll be fine. So you can play through it. So, okay, so here we see this challenge. You're going to be given the length and a width of a four-sided polygon. It's either a rectangle or a square. If it's a square, you return its area. If it's a rectangle, you return its perimeter. Now, how do we know it's a square? Because the length and width arguments are going to be the same.
John, maybe we're rushing. Just let's check really quick. Did everyone got a chance to register with Code Wars, or you need some time to do a guidance how it looks like?
It's for some reason not accepting the link to my GitHub. I'm trying to just figure that out. What's going on there?
Yeah, I'm having the same problem as James, actually, where when I try to get past this little test, it doesn't want to cooperate with me.
Well, that sucks. Let me see let me open up a private window and see if I can get to the same thing. So I go to Code Wars. Everyone can still see where I am, right? You probably still see my screen. So here I am. We still see your
Python.
You still see my Python. Oh, I'm sorry. So
yes.
I'll share my screen. This one. All right. So, I'm going to first, so choose my language. I'm choosing Python.
Python, yep.
Yeah, and so here, this code just figure out why. So, the short thing is return. Now it will work. Submit, sending a request. There I am. And then it's asking me for an email, username, password. I would skip. Don't worry about your GitHub account. You can do that later.
That doesn't happen for me. But can you do that again? What did you do when you first got to the code screen where it says multiply A times B? What did you do right there?
Okay, so let's see. So here on Code Wars, whoops. All right, let me just try this again. I'm gonna kill this.
New incognito window. Code Wars, yep. Those of you who do have accounts with Code Wars already, just put the thumbs up. Yay, somebody passed the test.
Good, thank you, Cassie. Thank you, Contavious. All right, let's do this. Let me close that. I'm going to open up a new one.
So it's giving some basic coding test. You may be not able to pass it. It's okay.
It is okay. Okay, so here's the first thing. I'm saying, okay, I want to sign up.
Yeah.
So if I just sign up, I have to choose a language. I'm choosing Python.
Right.
Then I have to, why doesn't this code not work properly?
Correct.
Well, because there's nothing that's assigned to A and B, A times B. So all I'm doing is I'm putting in the keyword return. Now this is a function that will work, right?
There you go.
So I
What you
click
got?
submit. It says, hey, I passed. And now it's asking me for an email, a username, and a password.
Yep, got it. Yep. I missed the return word there the last time. You went.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I don't have to go through all this, right? Everyone with me?
No.
All right. I'll just step through this. I don't want to create a new account, but you get the idea, right?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
kill this.
I'm in now. Now it's asking me what languages I want
All right, so
to go
choose.
through the process.
You're welcome to choose whatever language you want.
Understood.
I want to start with this problem. So whether you're in or not, you can. Let's just take a couple of minutes yourselves and
Yeah,
work
it's
through it.
asking
And then,
to set up your training setup, so you can go through this. The next step, it would be required. You want to learn the program, you are junior developer, you're mid-level developer and such, so kind of setting your account. It takes a couple minutes. Shall we give it these couple minutes to the audience?
sure. Mm-hmm.
Do they have just like a basic HTML or CSS, that kind of thing on here?
They do have but they do have JavaScript. Let me see that.
You got JavaScript, you got Ruby, TypeScript. You're good for down the road.
Yeah, what you're seeing right now
CSS3.
is the list of this particular challenge. HTML and CSS are not true programming languages; they're markup languages.
Okay.
And these
Did you go in through like the educator or the company one? Is there? I don't know. I can't get in at all. I don't know if it's my extensions or.
No. It's funny. We didn't anticipate that everyone would have so many problems with Code Wars. Sorry about
How
that.
do we find? I'm into Code Wars. How do I find this particular problem now?
So I put the URL. The URL's in the chat. You could also just do a search on area or perimeter.
Yes, let's do the orientation first, and I will put in the chat the URL for specific challenge we were interested to go through today. Specifically.
So here you can see that, this is my dashboard. And I could add more languages if I want. I can choose my difficulty that I want to do. 8 is the easiest. 1 is the hardest. I can choose, we can sort by, a bunch of different things. And each one of these is called a kata. And it's using this construction, they call it a dojo, which is a place to try out stuff. It's a martial arts metaphor. In a dojo, you fight, but you're not going to get killed. You just get to, maybe you get bruised because someone will hit you. But in a dojo, when you're doing a fight, you're pulling your punches. You're making sure that it's not about hurting anybody. It's about learning it. And so that's how to consider these katas. The kata is one particular battle, if you will.
And there are levels there. So for example, level 8 is the starting level.
Mm-hmm. So we're working on this particular one. So, this is the one, area or perimeter, and you can see that there's all these different languages by their icons. I don't know all the icons but this is Java. There's Julia, there's PHP, there's Prolog, here's Python, C#, C++, CFML, I don't know what that one is. COBOL. And it all has to do with the people grabbing a particular language and either posing a problem in a language, and then someone else ports it, or you pose a problem in multiple languages. And so if I go into area or perimeter, let me just give you a little tour. We can see that 105 people have bookmarked it. 41 is the number of, you can make a collection of katas. And so this kata is in 41 different collections. 90% of 3,000 people found this to be, gave it a positive rating. 27,500 people have completed it. And every kata may have a sensei attached to it, someone who's saying, here, do this. This one doesn't. And then there's issues. So the issues sometimes are the way the tests are. That you come up with a solution, and the solution works, but the testing doesn't work through it. So if I open up the kata itself, we see the problem itself. So here it is. You're given a length and width of a four-sided polygon. It's either a square or a rectangle. If it's a square, we want to return the area. If it's a rectangle, we want to return the perimeter. Okay? And the difference between a rectangle and a square is a rectangle with its height and its width that are equal. So then I go, okay, I want to do this, and I'm going to hit train. Now, I've been through this, so it recognizes it in my account. And so that's why it has past solutions, because if I click on this, you can see what my past solution has been, but I'm not going to do it because it will take away the fun. So on the left here, we have the instructions. If I click on the output tab, this is what will pop up when I run the code. So we'll just leave the instructions up. And then here's the solution. Now this is a very nice little interface, programming interface. It works pretty well like other kinds of IDEs. It doesn't have autocomplete and some of those cool features. But here we're just going to write some code that will solve this problem. And when I come up with a solution, I can click on test. So right now, if I click on test, it will say, hey, we were looking for some kind of code in here. So I could say this, return L times W. And this will run. So if I run this, it's going to go through a few test cases. And the test cases are here on the right under sample tests. And so L times W worked because that's how to find the area of a square.
Before we go further, just let me see if everyone is able to follow. First of all, do you know how to make the resolution, how to see it bigger? Because it can be too small for you to see. And in Zoom settings, view options, you can change the zoom. Yeah, maybe it's good to make it bigger for everyone. Thank you, John.
Yep. All I'm doing is holding my control key and scrolling.
Yeah, everyone else is, how do you feel about it? Is it clear? The interface is clear so far? We know it's new media, new environment. So do you feel comfortable about it?
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Right.
There are two ways we can proceed. We can have John doing all this demo like the mastermind and you just watching it, or maybe you want to interact and just say a few words and say, let me try it and share the screen and do the thing. Let's have John guiding us through the first one.
Okay, so I've come up with return L times W. Well, that's great if it's a square. If it's a rectangle, we want the perimeter, which is a different calculation. Does anyone know the calculation for a perimeter? Just throw it in the chat.
Some math involved.
Not hard, a little bit.
2L plus 2W.
That's right, 2L plus 2W. So if I go 2 times L plus 2 times W, that'll help us. Now, some of you don't know Python. Python indentation counts. There's no there's no terminal character that ends a line like a semicolon or something like that in other languages. It's all about white space. So the thing is that when I do have a return, I'm going to take out this. When I do have a return, it ends the function. So what we're creating is a function. And the function is called area or perimeter. It's taking in an L and a W. If we look down below, we can see that the first test is saying area perimeter 4, 4, and it should return 16. So L times, if I put in 4 for L and 4 for W and we multiply them, we're going to get 16. That's why this test passed. And we see that here on the left. Now it's saying, well, it's 6 and 10. It turned 60 because 6 times 10 is 60. Now we're in it. Really should, the answer should be 32. So we have to figure that out. So I'm going to make some conditionals. That's how I'm going to go about it. So if I'm going to say if L equals W, well, then we return L times W, right? Because that's a square. And then here, I'm going to do an else, and then I'm going to say return 2L plus 2 times W. So let's try that. It completed. So this is the initial tests. In other words, if you see at the bottom, it says test, but then it says attempt. And so the test is just to see if you're on the right track. So when I hit attempt, it's then going to do this extended bunch of tests. So let's see what we get. So here's all these different tests. And you can see, there's a lot of them. What is this? 302 tests. So all 302 tests passed, none of them failed. So I did good. Yay.
Wait a second, why I don't see all these tests?
Do you see them on the left side? It says testing for area or perimeter 74402.
In your screen,
comma.
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't see it in my screen. Okay.
Did you hit
I
attempt
got it.
or
Yep.
test?
Say that again?
Oh, I asked her if she hit attempt or test.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So now, I've come up with a good solution. I've passed all the tests. I can now submit it. So I hit submit. And I got a point, or, it will add something to my credential. Okay, so that's the first one I have. Let me see what my next one is. I have more. I have a bunch set up. You're also welcome to go through and say, hey, let's do this one. The next one I don't want to just do it for you. I want us to all work together on it. Or you come up with a good solution and suggest it. I'm not sharing, right? So what was the next one? So
John, I have a question.
yeah, go ahead.
So should we have documentation up with this?
What do you mean by that?
Should we just go to the Python documentation? Like, should we?
Oh
have
yeah,
that
this is a practice thing, and there's no one looking over your shoulder going, "Hey, you're cheating by looking at documentation."
Right.
If you're going to be a developer, you're going to have the documentation anyway.
True.
So the next one I came up with, I wanted to try with you all, is another 8-level kata, and this is called Find the Needle in the Haystack. I'm going to put it up in a second. Here's the URL in the chat. This one's called The Needle in the Haystack.
And before we go there, everyone was able
Can you
to
share my screen?
replicate. I mean, I do want to hear from the crowd. Were you following? Were you just doing the same thing like John did? Did you get the result with the first one?
Yeah, it was actually fun to get back to Python. It's been a couple months, so I was actually having to look up the syntax and how to format it properly coming back from JavaScript.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to step out, which I'm actually really bummed about because, like I said, it was fun getting back into this. So I'm really,
Now
I'm
you know the
upset.
track. Now you know the track.
I
So,
know. I'll catch the next one. Oh.
okay. What we will
Great. Thanks for
do,
coming, Jennifer.
yeah, we will publish all links we will be working today as a comment to meetup.com meeting. So you can practice by your own, or
Okay.
you can choose what to practice. Now you are
Yeah.
introduced to the platform. Now you know what to do about this. And today focus is
I had
Python.
known about Code Wars, but I just haven't really used it before, but I'll definitely have to get back into it.
You see it in
Excellent.
action. And for those of you, yes, Python, it looks like Python is not in your alley yet, or maybe it is. Some of you tried some. I would say first, think first. John, does it make sense to say couple syntax rules for those to start who want to start first,
Sure.
not to be intimidated? We also
Yep.
will have the class Intro to Python offered by introduced by John or taught by John, and it's coming March 1st. Welcome to join
Yeah,
this.
so join us. Okay, so the next, you see this, the next challenge. This is again another 8-level kata, and it's can you find the needle in the haystack? And so we're writing a function called find needle. It takes an array or a list, or depending on your construction, you know, the language. In Python, we're giving it a list that goes through the list and finds the needle and returns a sentence that says found the needle at position with a space and then the index of it. So here's our example. Here's our haystack. It's hay, junk, hay, more junk, needle, and random junk. Well, this should return it to position 5, right? 0. Hey, this is 0. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. And hold on. And this one's 5. So, regardless of the list, we want a function that will find the phrase needle and return it.
Kentavious raised his hand, has a question, I guess.
Kent, you had a question?
On this problem, couldn't you use binary search for this?
You're welcome to use anything you'd like.
Okay.
So try it. I think there's an easier way myself. And so, we would just type in something. No, I'm going to let you, someone can coach me about what I should put in here. Eventually, we're going to have a return, right? Because it's going to, it needs to return
No rush.
something.
Don't hint. Do we
Well,
still have
every
our
function-
Arna? Maybe Arna can guide you? We need a driver.
Yeah, we do. Every function, just to, in terms of Python, every function either has to have a return statement or some kind of something that's going to do some action. So maybe it's a print, but probably most of these in Code Wars, it's usually a return statement so it can run these tests.
And you know what? Whoever wants to volunteer to be a driver is totally okay not to be perfect, but just thinking out loud and sharing your thought process where you create the kind of brainstorming approach so people can correct you or just add to what you're thinking. So that's what we want to see instead of John driving it and doing everything. Any volunteers?
Well, probably I can try.
Okay, go ahead.
Probably first we need to check that's needle. That's as it says in instructions. We check if needle in Haystack.
Okay, so what would I write here?
If string needle.
If what?
If needle, that's with a string. Yeah, that's in Haystack.
And so if you have an if statement, we need
Then.
a colon. Here's the then. We just go if. And now what?
And then we can directly write a return statement, or first we can find index of this needle within this haystack if it's found. I prefer my approach. In my case, I write, for example, declare variable like e index equals haystack. At first, I declare find index of this. No, I would do this within if block. Within if block. Before.
I'm sorry. If needle and haystack return, but you wanted a variable. What's the variable called?
That's it doesn't matter. That's e, for example. In I. Yeah, that's okay.
And what's how do you want to do it?
But I do haystack.
Is it a string or is it this variable? Is it a string? Is it a list? Is it a
that's int because returned that's.
So I'll make it 0.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Then before return, write for example before return. Yeah. Write e equals haystack. To find index of the any value within this list, we write dot index, and within the brackets we write this value we want to find within this list.
Like that.
Yeah. Then on the return, we can use there's several options. String. I would use string formatting. That's F. And open this. Yeah, no, I forgot its name. How it's called in English. So let's see. I forgot its name in English. You wrote this needle within this.
Backtick.
Yeah. Okay.
For
yeah.
string.
Yeah.
Say it again.
It is the backtick for string.
You mean this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and before this we start with F because we will write string formatting. Yeah, and within this we write found the needle at position. At position, and we open curly braces within this string, within this string inside.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Oh, you're looking for this then.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay.
And we write here our inside of the curly braces we write e. Yeah. That's
okay.
That's all. The second return we don't need in our case.
Well, should I try it?
Hey, I think that it should work.
Yeah, there we go. Good. We passed these 3 tests. So it worked for all of these.
Yeah.
Right. So these are the tests at the bottom, and you see. Okay, should I give it an attempt, Fuad?
Yep. Yep. I think that it will work because it works for me.
And so, very nice. We did it. Great job.
Do we see other options how to perform the same task?
There are. So one of the things we can do, and this is really cool about Code Wars, is we could click on View Solutions, and we can look and see what other people have done. And so, a lot of people just, they would do something like this. But they're all very similar, right? They're generally, Fuad says, let's create a variable. They're skipping the variable. I don't think there's much difference. This one's very close to what we just did, right?
But that's declaring variable. I think that it's better for understanding and for making that clear.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. And then Umit, you did it in JavaScript too, which is great. And so you're moving right along. Great. Let's. That was great. Thank you, Fuad. Should we try another one? Let's move up the scale a little bit. Give me a minute. Let me just
Moving up the scale. Do we want to move up?
I think let's try a 7, just for fun. That one's a 6.
How others feel about it?
Yeah,
Able
we
to
should try
replicate?
7. Yeah.
Hold on.
Cassie, Meredith, you were able to replicate it on your
Yeah,
screen?
I think I'm just a little confused because I'm not there yet. For my,
Oh, that's fine. I want you to know, Meredith, I appreciate that, that this might be, gee, I'm a little, in the woods. But
Yeah.
even just getting into the conversation is useful. So,
yeah,
take what you get out of it and don't judge yourself, because there's
Yeah.
no shame in this at all.
right.
Okay, this one is called Invite More Women.
Oh,
And it's actually, I really like this one. It's, I found it pretty simple. Let me just put it up here. And so what it is, wait a minute, train again. All right, I'm going to share my screen. So King Arthur and his knights are having a New Year's party. Last year, Lancelot was jealous of Arthur because Arthur had a date and Lancelot did not. And they started a duel. So to prevent this from happening again, Arthur wants to make sure there are at least as many women as men at this New Year's party. So he gives you a list of integers of all the partygoers. You need to return true if he needs to invite more women, or false if he's all set. So it goes like this. The input is going to be, it's going to be an array or a list where there's a 1 for all the women. I'm sorry, a 1 if it's a man, and a -1 if it's a woman. So we're going to get these strings of 1s and -1s, and you can see in the test cases how they are. 1 - 1 1. Okay. The list is going to be between 2 and 50 elements. And what's cool about this one is not I think the code's not very hard, but it's the algorithm you have to just figure out how does this work. Someone want to try it?
volunteers or crowd sourcing, crowd collaboration is needed.
Actually, if I don't mistake, there was a count function in a Python. We first find a number, how many times -1 or 1 repeats within the list, and should compare, and it should take action depending on this. But I forgot this action. I need to Google this.
So yeah, so we're working with a list, and list has all these great methods that go along with it. One is count.
Yes, one is count. Okay. Because I can't open this task for me. That says that I can't open this task for myself.
Does someone else want to give it a shot? Are you familiar with lists in Python?
I am, but with this one, I don't think
If no one else wants to.
What'd
Go
you say?
ahead, Chris. What?
Yeah. go, Chris.
Kentavious, what?
Oh, I was gonna say that I'm not confident in my ability to solve.
Yeah, but you don't need to be confident. You can give it a shot. So I know that there is a count. There's list.count, and it'll return how many incidences of a thing. So we could say men is equal to, this is not my solution, but I'm doing it. So we could say r.count 1. Let's just see, we could actually print this, right? So if I just, you will run this just to test it. You know, there's 2 men. In the first one, there's no men. In the second one, there's 1 man. In the third one, so this is working. This print, this men is equal to r dot count 1 is working. So I'll leave it at that. How should
I
we
like
proceed?
the minimum viable test. Thank you,
Mhm.
John, for the idea.
Hmm.
So I feel like people don't want to try because
It's really,
they,
just try it. You know, just throw something out there.
yeah,
There's no, we're not beating
we're not
anybody if they get
judging.
it wrong.
Yep. We're just thinking about minor steps, what the next step can be done, or you can just address the idea how to do it using your JavaScript background or experience, how you would do it in JavaScript, and maybe by similarity, we can solve this together.
Yeah, I found another way to solve this, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, go ahead, James.
Okay, just because no one's solving it, I just have a question because I'm totally confused. In this program, the array is already defined.
Yeah, because it's being, if you look under this sample tests, you can
No,
see
no,
that
no. But where is the array? The array
array is
is
being,
I'm not familiar with the language, but
oh, I see.
there's
Python
there's
uses,
there's
Python
an
uses,
array.
yeah,
There's an
Python
array.
uses,
Where
in
is the
Python, it's called a list, but it's an
okay?
array.
All right, the list, right? Where
Right.
is the list?
The list is
Invite
being,
more women, ARR. Where is the list?
the list is being passed in.
Where,
That's
from where? From where?
from, you know, when I do a test, it's going to go through, it's going to pass in these assertion things. So we, you know, on the left here, we failed 4 tests. Well, the 4 tests are invite more women passing in this list, invite more women passing in this list, invite more women passing in this list, and invite more women passing in this list.
Oh, I kind of see now.
And that this, you know, test.assert equals is a construction out of a library that comes out of Code Wars. And, you know, we don't really need to worry about that because that's built in. If you do want to emulate this on your own IDE, you can download and get access to this library, Code Wars test. That's all that's going on here. And so I work in PyCharm. And so when I'm coming up with a solution, I'll actually copy all this code and drop it into my IDE. I've imported code wars _test. This line here, line number 2, just says import this function from this namespace. Yeah, go ahead, James.
Another question. How many people are following him? Please raise your hands. If you're following him and you're understanding, please raise your hands. Okay, we got 3 people. Okay, can I ask you? Okay, can I ask you?
Go ahead.
You're doing great, James. Go ahead.
Okay, in the languages that I know, when you see def invite more women and there's a parentheses, it's like a function.
That's
The
right.
parentheses is an argument.
That's right.
There's an argument. So if there's an argument, you have to pass something to the argument.
That's
and
right.
I'm asking where is the information that we're passing to that argument,
So when I click this test button,
right?
it's going through the sample tests. So down here on this little lower piece, import
Right.
code wars test, here are the tests that it's passing in. These are the, so these, in Python, you define a list using square brackets. So here's the first R, ARR. Here's the second ARR.
Okay, again, let me stop you. So it goes and it looks at the bottom and it gets the 1, -1, and 1. and passes it to ARR. And then it looks at the expression that you wrote to see if you pass this to that expression, does it work? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
correct?
right. Yes, that's what this test.assert equals. That's how
Okay.
that's how this part down here works.
I'm a little closer, and I apologize. I'm just not familiar at all, one with the language or the application itself.
No worries.
I want
All
to get
good.
there. I want to stay with the group. I want to eventually get there.
Great.
You will. There are okay. There is a different level of everyone in this group for sure. Okay, good to see somebody pass it in familiar language. So syntax is the first challenge. If you're not familiar with Python, the syntax of the Python is the first, or it's second because the first is the environment. So what we see here in Code Wars called IDE, right? So it's good, but you have to get familiar with this environment. What's going on here on your left, on your side, on the bottom, and how it works together.
Go ahead. Yes,
I
go
have
ahead,
2 more
James.
questions.
I'm just going to add this in.
Okay.
Here.
First question. Do you ever do other languages other than Python?
We can. We haven't.
No.
This is our first time that we're playing with Code Wars in this
As a
coding
group.
club.
Yep.
Okay, so normally you teach Python, and this is the first time you use Code Wars. Is that correct?
Normally, coding clubs are we're having different formats. We played with networking only, and people found it cool, but not hands-on. So we decided to switch to do more hands-on, in addition to the fact that we have courses as a separate entity. So courses are courses, and coding clubs are just clubs. So we're experimenting with coding clubs, and coding clubs can be served as just helping each other, collaborating on something, networking on subject, for example, how to find a job, right? And practicing together. So for this specific day, today, we choose to do Code Wars, to use this platform, to introduce this platform, and then to introduce how to do it with basic Python. So it's today specific.
Thank you so much for that explanation. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're just trying to see what would work for people to help them to go deeper into coding, what coding languages, what skills levels, and where do you need help. But this is a really cool platform, useful for you to be trained, right?
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Okay, so let's see if we can solve this as a group.
Can
So I
offer
mean,
my
so
solution?
what I did is we did men is equal to ARR.count1. Women obviously is going to be ARR.count minus 1.
Can
So
I offer my
now what?
solution? I have
What?
a solution. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Then it says that in case if number of men more than number of women, if men more women greater than women, then we return true. And other case we don't need. Okay, we can write else and then return false. That's will be our solution.
All right, let's try it.
Yep.
That's very good. Is everyone in agreement? You get how this works?
Go for it.
No, I mean it's pretty straightforward. That's great. So I tested it. Let's give it an attempt, and it passed. Good job. Now we could try a different way to do this. You know, we could shorten this a lot, right?
Yes, we can shorten this.
And I would do this, something like if, so here's how I did it. If sum of R is greater than, so, you know, if you have a man and you have a woman, they add up to 0. So if the whole list adds up to 0, then we're good. If it's negative, it means that there's more women. Okay,
John.
so I just have to get this right. So if sum r is greater than 0, well, then we return true. Oh, I see my problem. Sorry. Else return false.
How about the previous solution? Was it saved in past solutions?
Well, they're on.
I can go back and copy and paste it. Here we go. So
How do you
I will,
save it? How do you save it?
you can I can just submit it. So if I hit submit, there it is, and it will be in the thing again. Now I could train it again, and I'll show you what I was thinking. So what I said was, if sum ARR is greater than 0, return true, else return false. That's it. It just simplifies it a little bit.
Be clever.
And there it is, same thing.
So now both solutions are saved in your past solutions, right?
Mm-hmm. I have to hit submit.
You did. If you will click on past solutions, is it only your solutions show up or
Yes.
everyone's?
These are my solutions. So if I click on past solutions, here they are.
Oh, different tries.
Yeah.
You have more than one solution.
Yeah, I played with this a few times just because I was getting ready for tonight. So here's the first one. Here's one I did earlier. Yeah, these are the same. So I've done this a couple times the same way. But then we can also look at view solutions. So in viewing solutions, we can see what other people have done. And, they've done, this one's pretty good too. Return, if the AR count 1 is greater than AR count -1, that's going to be either true or false. And so it's, even more succinct, right? Same here. Now, no, returning 0 is the same as returning false.
So Python is very
it's kind of cool.
forgiving.
There's some really nice stuff in here.
Python syntax is very forgiving, I would say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can do it in so many ways.
This one does a whole with a lambda.
Ooh.
Same thing.
What's a lambda?
Lambda is is like a little mini function that you can put inside a function. So invite more women is the function. The body of the function is using the variable a. The sum of a is greater than 0, and that's the function. So if the sum of a is greater than 0, it's going to be either true or it's going to be false.
Okay.
So the way it works is, you go invite more women and you pass in something. Well, that's get passed to A, because lambda is saying, okay, A is is what gets passed in, and then we just put it through the sum. Here's the sum of A greater than 0. It's just a shorthand.
So it kind of hides the actual function that we're using.
Well, the actual function is right here. So, but it's all shorthand. Here's a real long way to do it. Frequency is equal to, and then they create a dictionary and add an item. This is a little more convoluted, right? Given that, you could do it in one line, never mind. This is 2 lines. And here someone did it with 1. So it's all, this is all like just nuanced stuff, which is great. You want to try one more? Do we have time for one more, Julia?
We do have the time, but let's hear from people. What I'm seeing here, a lot of struggle and just not the fear you're not following through. Some of you do follow. Some of you follow with your familiar language. Some of you just like scared to give it a try, but it's okay. It's all fine. So what we want you just, first of all, to introduce the Code Wars as a platform. And second thing, I'm putting into the chat the link to the course for those of you who do want to learn basic Python. Python is actually amazing and fascinating language itself. And I personally struggle as an old programmer too, because I see it's skipping very important steps and I need those steps to be visual for me. And we saw these steps performed by some previous solutions or other people's solutions there. But Python allows you to skip those steps. So I don't know, is it good or bad, but it's just different language. And if you want to learn this syntax, welcome to the introductory class, which we will have March 1st.
So the introductory class that we're doing on March 1st is, how long is it? It's an hour and a half, Julia? Is it short? It's
The
short.
whole meeting would be 1 hour and a half. So the content shall be no more than 1 hour. Sorry.
So, you know, we're not going to dive in depth into Python, but we're going to talk about the basics of the language.
Yep.
And then I'm going to introduce you to this book. It's called, hold on, I'm going to hold it up. It's called Automate the Boring Stuff with Python, which is a really fun book to go through. And so after the introductory session, we're going to have some basically, we call them office hours, but you know, it's self-study. So, you know, you go through the book and we'll meet and chat about it when we can. You know, a couple of 3 meetings after that, so monthly. And so you're all welcome to join that. There's no charge for any of it.
It is our enthusiasm. We are excited about Python. We think that Python will be trending language, dominating language, and you actually can automate so much of boring stuff right now. So that's why we're doing minor steps toward this, and we're trying to support you in any way possible. If you will choose to stick with JavaScript or Java or whatever language of your choice, it's also good. Feel free to use Code Wars as a platform for that. So once again, Open Hub is the for-profit organization, and we do have the courses and classes, paid one. You're welcome to take those. But this is Meetup, so we're trying to onboard as many people as possible, just being excited about coding itself in general, know some tools, see how they can grow and study themselves. You can do it yourself. And if you need any help, we will try to help in all ways possible. So first, meetups, introductory classes for free, and then kickoff. We will actually announce the study jam using this book. So it means this book is published online, it's open source, so you can find all the materials.
I just put the link in the chat.
Documentation. Yay.
James, you had a question. No, I just wanted to say, you know, I really think this is great, you know, learning. As I said, I worked for 27 years. I started as a clerk. I became a Power Builder programmer, and I worked with consultants. They were making $200,000 a year. And eventually I started supervising those people, and I developed HBD's first classroom. And one of the things I found about working with code is an instruction. Everything on a computer is an instruction. People write instructions and they save the instructions. And what I found is it's not so much knowing how to solve a problem as opposed to finding the information that somebody already solved when you're working for someone. And even when you're developing some things, I've developed a couple of things, a spelling program for kids. I have a bunch of websites I developed. In JavaScript, I'm working on a chess program. And frankly, the simple things that you just did, like with an array, like I know what an array is, I know how to pass variables and whatever, but looking at something and finding what's missing in the code, I really didn't follow it, maybe because I don't know the program. But what I found is I look at a lot of YouTube stuff. So I want to do something. I look at YouTube, I find out how somebody else did it. I learn their code, and then I use it for whatever else I want to develop. It's another way of doing things. I love this. I really love this. I want to continue, and I will not interrupt the next time you have a class. But what I would like to say, I'm homebound. I'm on my computers every day for hours at a time. If
Right.
anybody wants to look at some stuff out of this, I do have a meetup group, which I've never launched. You know, I just pay for everything. I never do it. But if you want to look at some stuff, like especially like those people who are new in JavaScript, I've just looked at so much stuff, and I really know how to do a lot of things in JavaScript. And I'd
Excellent.
be happy to help
Bravo.
anyone new.
Mhm.
Basically, this is how you do it. You don't know how to do it, this is how you do it, or this is where you can go to find out how to do it.
So you
And I
can
want
mentor people.
and I want to thank the two of you. It's just wonderful what you're doing. I really
Oh.
appreciate it. I will not interrupt the class again. So sorry.
No. Now let me
Well, what I was
refer.
thinking, James, is, you know, I don't know JavaScript very well. You know, and because a lot of people are really interested in JavaScript, maybe next month we actually do some JavaScript programs. And so,
Yeah, if
you
they
know,
if you want to do this, we can do doodle poll and choose what language to focus.
Actually, I can show you an application that I'm writing, that I've written, and show some of the things that you need to do to get it done. Like it's basically, it puts a chessboard up, lets you pick a chess piece, stick it on the board, move it around. It's a lot of stuff, and I may not have written it well, probably could be done better, but it works. That's the thing, it works. It does what I want it to do.
great.
Thank you.
Good.
Actually, I do want to point you to a few resources. First of all, it's not our desire to have mentors, mentoring others, mentoring each other. So I see people want to practice and just to find the relevant resources to practice. And I see this is a big demand for that and needs. So kind of hands-on meeting as a collaboration. So our goal is to find how we can help you to be matchmaked based on your interest and based on your topic, skilled, not skilled, and such. But it's fun to collaborate, and it's fun to have professionals, okay, practitioners who are not scary to practice in front of other people. That's what John is doing, actually, right? He
Yeah.
did. He tried. He gave it a try. He doesn't afraid to fail, and he's sharing his experience. And thank you, James, for your offering. I think it would be very generous. I do want to point you to the link, which I will put on chat. So this would be the way to submit your presentation, shall I say? Because we do want to see volunteers running meetings. I do
Yeah.
want to schedule more networking, specifically networking events, which I think people would benefit from. And I do want to see one-on-one mentorship. All these formats has to have place, but we just need to find the right approach, how to deliver this to the community. Saying that, it looks like we don't have more desire or time to practice one more challenge, or do we? What's the crowd think? What do you want to do? Kentavious,
One more?
Folarunsha.
You want to do one more, Kentavious?
Kentavious always do one. Okay.
I've got one more.
Wait,
one more.
let's
This
hear
is
from
fun
others.
one,
Wait
too.
a second. How about Jeff?
Yep.
How about Chris? How about Folarunsha? Am I saying your name right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm happy to see another one. No problem. for me.
Okay, cool.
It's
Anyone
just
else? We
fun.
need 3 votes. One more.
Yeah, it's Amin.
Okay,
And
so
you said the name right. Thank you.
Great,
good.
thank you.
Do you want to see another, just one more challenge to solve together?
All right, here we go. This one's called Counting Sheep. Is it the right one?
Yay.
Oh no, is that the one I wanted to do? No, this one. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. This is the one we want to do. This one's a little harder, but it's interesting.
So you want to do counting sheep? Ah, okay.
No, this one. It's called
Take a 10-minute walk.
Take a 10-minute walk.
Okay.
This one's
Can
a
I read
little
it?
harder, but I'll read it to you. So you live in the city of Cartesia, where all roads are laid out in a perfect grid. You arrive 10 minutes too early to an appointment, so you decided to take the opportunity to go for a short walk. The city provides its citizens with a walk generating app on their phone, so every time you press the button, it sends you an array of one-letter strings representing directions to walk, so north, south, east, west. You always walk only a single block for each letter in the direction, and you know it takes you 1 minute to traverse one city block. So we're creating a function that will return true if the walk the app gives you will take exactly 10 minutes, because you don't want to be early or late to your appointment. And of course, you need to return to your starting point. Otherwise, it returns false. They're saying, you'll always receive a valid array, so we don't have to do that check. And it won't give you an empty array because there's no walking in that. So, if we look at, here, I'll share my screen. If you look at the sample test, and these are always useful to look at. It's valid walk, so north, south, north, south, north, south, north, south, north, south. That should be a valid walk. Now notice this one, west, east, west, east, west, east, west, east, west, east, west, east, is not valid. Anyone know why? Because it will take more than 10 minutes. Okay, so we're checking a couple of different things here. The third one here is W, which is obviously you walk one block and you're done. That's not good either. And then this one, you're going north, 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 south, north, south, north, south, north, south. So there's not enough souths in here. Okay, get the idea?
John, is it what you do as a first step always? Always checking
What?
the tests?
I do like to look at the test to know. It's not always. I looked at one and I was like, I don't even know how to figure this out. I don't even know how to do the calculations in my head. Never mind in Python. What was it? It was you get a number and you have to come up with consecutive numbers that will add up to that number. I'm like, unless it's formulaic, I'm not be able to do it. So anyway, I looked through some of the numbers and couldn't do it on paper. So if I can't do it on paper, even the simple ones, how am I going to get the program to do it? But this one's pretty cool. So we want to determine if the walk is valid.
So I'm just curious to hear the thought process, how to approach it.
So never mind code. How should we check? How should we work with this?
Hold on. Okay. So it says 1 minute is for one block.
Yeah.
So every time, okay, let's say we hit north, that's one block, and then south, that's another block, and then north again, that's one block.
That's right.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff. Good to see you.
And the block is a minute. So that was 3 minutes, what I just said right there.
That's right.
Okay.
But in 3 minutes you didn't end up where you wanted to be. So everything comes in a list, right?
Right.
So there's, we need to do tests. So what's the first test we want to think about?
Whether the array adds up to 10 minutes or not?
That's good. So how would I write that?
I guess you
Just
would
write it in
write,
pseudocode. If list is not 10 items, right?
right. If list is not 10, return
Use
false.
the function.
Sorry, Chris, what?
Oh, sorry. You can use the length function. It's for
Yeah.
arrays. Yeah. So len.
So it's len, right? Walk is not equal to 10. Return false. So that will take out, if we look at the 4, it will take out number 3. It'll take out number 4. It'll take out 2 and 3. Okay, what's
It
next?
takes out everything but the last one.
Say it again.
I think it takes out everything but the last one.
No, the first one is true.
Oh, right.
And because it is 10 items, I mean, just looking at it, it's 10. So what's the next thing we should
I
think
was working on it backwards. Now I'm a little bit confused on the wording. Are you supposed to, for it to be valid, are you supposed to like change directions each step?
No, you don't have to change direction each step, but you just have to, if you go north, you have to go south. Right? Because you have to end up at the same spot. If you go east, you have to go west.
Could you try else return true? Or would that just be too basic?
It's too basic. I mean, because we
Yeah.
don't want to return true unless it really does. I
Right.
can do it. I'll show you. So if I do this, return true. It's good. I'm glad you're asking. So I'll do a test. So we saw that 2 and 3 are not 10 items.
Mhm.
The first one is 10, so it returns true. But that's not the whole deal, right?
Right.
So I could change this. Watch this. If I change this to E and make this one E, well, then it's not going to work. But but it's returning true anyway, and it shouldn't. Because you go east, then you go north, south. Well, you're 2 blocks easter than you should be. So let's take this out. So what's another way to check if we're going to end up in the same spot? So now we know we're going to walk, our walk is going to be 10 minutes.
You can assign a number to each direction, I guess. Let's counter a negative, although doesn't deal with east-west versus north-south, but
Well, what do you mean by what are you checking with that? So why don't you explain your thinking, Chris?
well, I mean, like it's easy with just opposite directions. You just give one positive one and the other negative one.
Mm-hmm.
But if that doesn't take care of if you're going east or west.
I get what you mean.
I understand too. And the way I solved it was similar, but I didn't do any assignment of numbers.
Well, I was looking at it and I was thinking, on the last one, it says north 3 times. So I would say like have a certain number of times you can go north or south or east
Well,
or
every
west?
time you go north, you should go south, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
You can do the count function, count up each number of instances.
Very good. So it would look like something like this, right? North. So that if we did some construction like this, if the count of n's doesn't equal the count of s's, well, then it's false.
And then you can do the same thing with
East and west.
east and west.
Yeah. So, and then we use an or statement.
This is fun.
I always forget about that method for some reason. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. So if they are not equal, we return false. Else, return true. What do you think of that? Will this work?
Good.
We wouldn't know unless we tried.
Yeah,
Logic sounds right.
it
Logic
does,
is right.
Good. Hey, check that
Oh,
out.
let's go.
All right,
And
here's our
submit
attempt.
test.
Look at that. Pretty good.
Good job.
Yeah, good job.
Logic.
Mhm.
That's what I love about programming. It's the logic part. And then, trying to figure out, okay, how do you use these constructions and what do we need to do? Fun. Good job.
So the IDE was confusing. The new syntaxes was confusing. The new group was intimidating. I know, but as a result, you have some satisfaction and you got the new idea about new platform, what to do, what to test. And if you like or don't like Python as a language, so far, how does it feel?
I would say compared to other programming languages is like the syntax is more like English and than in
I
others.
agree. That's one of the really nice things about Python and not having to worry about semicolons and all that. I really like Python. James.
Just question, what do they do with Python?
Oh, Python is a real Swiss Army knife. A lot of people are using it now for the websites. Is one thing that's there. People do it with Django. But there's a lot of data. The big rave these days is data analysis.
Backend, data. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so
Automation.
much that can be done.
Automation. That's why we will be doing automate your boring stuff.
Yeah.
Study Jam. We really found this book as like exciting, and it's really interesting to do self-study. What we will be providing is some office hours. So first of all, first thing first, we will introduce you to the Python as a basic syntax, March 1st. Then we will have the kickoff of this mini study jam, and we will host a few office hours for that specifically. Welcome to join if you are excited as
How
much as
often
we
are the
are.
classes?
First of all, coding clubs are monthly. It's not classes.
Oh, no, for Python.
Intro
So
to
the
Python is
Python-
one-time thing.
Oh, okay.
We're doing this 1 hour thing. You go read the book and you read it online. You could buy it if you wanted. And then we'll meet monthly to go over problems and answer questions. If you want more time than that, you'd have to. We're going to provide opportunities to pay for that. James.
Okay, would you put the name of the book in the chat, please?
I did. I did put the name of the book. It's called, I gave you a website. It's called Automating the Boring Stuff with Python.
Automating the boring stuff. I'll look for it.
You know what
Yeah,
you
and
can
there's-
do? Save chat. You have a chance to save a chat. So
I'll
this
put it
way,
in again.
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. Saying that, it was good to have all of you. I will stop recording and you can hang out a little bit longer, ask questions, just network if you want. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, John. It was really excellent. Fun.
Thank you. It was very fun. I really
you very
appreciate
much.
everybody coming and your participation. Great to meet you all.